stairwell safety.
They sent an email out and they were like, people have been getting hurt in the stairwells and we want to remind you to focus walking down the staircase. Don't text.
Dude, have they been in the elevators recently? Those things are terrifying.
Those are freaking terrifying.
Yeah. I once saw just a pile of Cheetos in the corner of the elevator. I'm like, why is that there? And then I remember the one time it accidentally opened to the basement under the Bayou building. Apparently someone had just clicked it and left, and I got in. And it went down, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't think I was on the second floor. And it opened to just darkness and dirt. And I'm like, oh! No.
I couldn't find the stairs for a while, so I only used the elevators, and I was terrified every time. I'm not even really afraid of elevators. I was just scared because those are real rickety.
They wait when they get to a floor, and sometimes, you gotta jiggle it a little bit for it to be like, oh, that's right, I'm at the floor. I forgot.
Yeah, no, I don't trust that.
I don't trust the safety placards that are like,
stairs.
We checked this last month. I'm like,
Actually, we checked a year ago exactly. Last time I checked.
Oh, good.
but the stairs also feel like the kind of place where you'll get mugged. Because it's very reminiscent of those staircases in parking garages downtown at 3 a.m. Yeah.
I mean, sure.
It's just a vibe. They're haunted.
Open doors, maybe.
That would probably, if they just kept those open, that would be nice.
Yeah. Then you wouldn't have the problem of people.
Because those doors open right into the fucking hallway. Anyway.
Lego.
You ready? You recording?
Are you ready?
Yeah, I've been recording.
Awesome. All right. Well,
you got all that good stuff.
This is Signal Soundbytes. I'm Brandon Peña, managing editor of The Signal, and with me today are...
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm back. I'm Leif.
I'm Trey.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Anna.
All right, and that's the whole crew. And we're going to be calling Crystal in here in a minute. Well, I guess we can call her in now. Let's see what she's up to.
What's up,
see if
Crystal?
she actually answer her phone. She's like, what do you want?
Hello?
Welcome to Signal Soundbytes. You're on here live. What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Crystal. I'm from Houston.
Oh, what's your occupation? You're a back-page reporter right here.
Yes.
All right, now the whole gang's here. Let's get started with the first topic. Why don't you actually explain this to us, Anna, because you actually wrote the article. Well, you wrote a commentary on this.
I did. So Michelle Carter was recently convicted of involuntary manslaughter. She had a relationship with this boy named Conrad Roy III, and they had a texting relationship. Originally, they just texted a lot, and then it kind of evolved to them talking a lot about suicide. Conrad really struggled with suicidal thoughts, and originally she told him not to commit suicide. It wouldn't do anything for him. And she originally came around to encourage him to commit suicide. Killed himself. And he...
can you explain why that is a thing?
Yes. So, commit suicide is actually not politically correct. It was corrected in the AP Style book a while back. But it is preferred to say died by suicide or killed themselves, because it is highly offensive to people that have lost someone to suicide. So you need to try and use killed themselves or died by suicide.
Because you would commit a murder and that would be a crime, but committing suicide, not a crime. So the etymology there has shifted recently. I found that interesting.
Yes. So Michelle Carter texted her boyfriend multiple times and kind of encouraged him into killing himself. And he finally decided to do it. He got in his truck in a parking garage, and he got scared and started to get out, and she texted him and convinced him to get back in the car. And she said on the phone she heard his dying breath. So from that, 2 years later is today, and she was recently convicted of that crime by involuntary manslaughter. So in August, she should receive her sentencing for that.
And this is the first kind of case like this? Or are there similar cases?
There really isn't. I haven't come across a lot of cases. This conviction means that words kill.
Okay, so could this retroactively affect cyberbullying cases where someone was bullied to suicide online?
Well, I looked up the case of Brandy Vela, the Texas City teenager who shot herself as a result of cyberbullying. But the people that got arrested in that case, they didn't get arrested for her death. They got arrested for impersonating her and sharing, her personal information. And I don't remember the exact charges, but it didn't have to do exactly with her death. It
says right here, unlawful disclosure of or promotion of intimate visual material and stalking and online impersonation.
Yeah.
But not for making her kill herself.
Because they never actually told her, encouraged her.
So, there's literally a meme that is like, go kill yourself, and it's like the dude in the suit. Could that be considered a lethal weapon?
Well, see, the big thing about the Michelle Carter case is it could set a precedent on whether or not it is a crime to tell someone to kill themselves. So that's, I think, the big thing about it. It's pretty scary.
Interesting.
Because in the definition of involuntary manslaughter, it does say that it's normally from like a DWI, killing someone from a DWI or shooting off a gun, into the air and it accidentally killed someone.
Right.
So it's like there's actually like a physical weapon. And like she said, it's saying that her words were the actual weapon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There could be an illegal means.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the difference between saying, go kill yourself, just like that one statement where she was very persuasive about it and she knew exactly what she was doing and saying to him. She knew about his past. She knew he wanted to get out of the car. He did get out of the car. And she said, no, go back in there. So I think that's the big difference is her persistence to it.
The judge said one of the reasons why he convicted her was she didn't give any command saying leave or call for help, or she didn't tell him don't do it.
Did she ever say like why she decided to go through with it, telling him to kill himself?
Not that I'm aware of. I think if you look at their text messages, which is pretty disturbing, she starts off with him saying, don't do it, it's not going to help. It's not going to help anyone, it's going to hurt people. And then she kind of comes around to seeing that he wants to do this. And so I think in her mind, possibly, she thought she was helping him carry out what he couldn't.
This could also tie into the right to die. It's kind of interesting that, we have everything in power to protect the right to live, but if someone has decided they don't want to live, we get very upset with that, don't we? Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you don't have a right to say, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good.
So her defense attorney said that she was dragged into his suicidal journey and that it actually, he caused his own death by his physical actions and thoughts, and that it was saying that Michelle Carter was overwhelmed by his talks of suicide and she wanted to help him, and then once she realized that she had no way of helping him in her mind, that she thought that was going to be the way to help her. And then it also says that she was taking antidepressants, and so she was involuntarily intoxicated during this time.
That's understandable.
Which I'm not a doctor, but I firmly believe.
No, there are some antidepressants where you, you're not depressed, but you're not exactly with your full faculties or, completely alert. There's a reason they say don't operate heavy machinery. That goes for a lot of intense thought processes as well, because they describe it as being like a zombie or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was on, but that's highly, highly possible.
How long have they been dating?
It seems to be from 2012 to 2014. So.
They were together for a while.
During that time frame, they also knew that she was taking antidepressants. I'm assuming she went to a doctor for that.
Well,
so how is she not being looked into that further, that her mindset was, I can't help this guy. I should convince him to die.
She was 17 when it happened.
And he was
18.
Okay, so they're both teenagers. They're both on antidepressants.
And this relationship seemed to be mostly based on texts and emails. It has.
Yeah,
So-
that was
Yeah.
It was a long distance relationship.
Yeah, so one thing to note is that I'm pretty sure they met at a camp and they ended up just texting. So they really didn't have a physical presence in their lives. So their parents, I'm sure Conrad's parents were shocked to discover that this person had convinced their child and they didn't even know her.
Well, I mean, if they didn't know that their child was texting the same person for 2 years, like...
I think what stands out to me is that he was getting out of the car and she said, "Get back in." She went beyond just saying, "Go kill yourself."
Yeah,
I think, I think that was really like what confirmed it for the judge to make that decision. Because
that's messed up.
If there wasn't a record of her on the phone during that time, and then also the text message of her saying, "I did nothing, I was responsible," I think it could have gone a different way. But because she herself admitted that I did nothing and I told him to get back in and that it's my fault, I think that she kind of sealed her own fate there.
Yeah, no, she screwed herself on that one. But like, this wasn't by any means a healthy relationship descending into toxicity. This sounds like two, emotionally distraught people finding some comfort in each other and then just following that whirlpool of depression straight down to where it goes.
They were teenagers. I mean, we all did a lot of stupid... I mean, I know I did. I did a lot of stupid stuff when I was 17.
Oh, yeah. Emotions are... This is going to be one of those cases where they talk about it for a while. But it's probably not the first time that this has actually happened. It's just the first time someone decided to press charges for it happening.
Well, you have a similar thing going on with that blue whale phenomenon that people are talking about, where they go through the contest online and get hooked up with some weird handler that's the shadow person anonymous, and then after you go through the process, you end up killing yourself. They tell you to kill yourself, and
by the way, that's horrific.
Up in a kid being killed.
That's horrific, but that is so cyberpunk 21st century like horror story. It sounds like an episode of Black Mirror almost.
Yeah, it does.
All of this sounds like the past 3 years have felt like an episode of Black Mirror, honestly, because man, like from the wife that shot her husband for a YouTube stunt.
That was
that was a thing that happened. I mean, it's all 21st century is weird, man.
But I guess back to this case.
Yeah.
One thing that just really was weird to me is that judge set a precedent that words can kill.
Yeah.
And that was pretty crazy to me. And there's the American Civil Liberties Union of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
They actually, as soon as this court case was ruled, they put out a statement and they said that Mr. Roy's death is a terrible tragedy, but it's not a reason to stretch the boundaries of the criminal laws or abandon the protections of our Constitution.
Yeah.
There is no law in Massachusetts making it a crime to encourage someone or even to persuade someone to commit suicide, yet Ms. Carter has now been convicted of manslaughter based on the prosecution's theory that the 17-year-old words literally killed Mr. Roy.
I think that's
kind of like the tricky part too, though, with us as journalists, is that we want our words to impact others. We want them to read our stories and say, like a call to action kind of sometimes with our stories. So in a way, I kind of understand that, but in a way, it does seem a bit harsh. But at the same time, I want people to read my stuff and feel some kind of emotion,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Catcher in the Rye, like the famous example of Catcher in the Rye inspiring the assassination of John Lennon, whether or not it's true. If someone decides that a book is so sad they kill themselves, does that book become illegal? Because it inspired one person to kill themselves.
Well, the book would be illegal if it was if it's pinpointed a small group of people, an identifiable group of people, or a person, if it was gave you instructions and told you and called people to assassinate this person. You kind of have to that speech is you have to be explicit with it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
So what I think maybe with this case, manslaughter isn't probably the best thing to charge her with. Maybe like criminal negligence or failure to render aid.
I would have thought
something similar to that. I don't know the law. But.
This case frustrated me so much because I don't disagree that she needs jail time. I think that this is a horrible situation. It's a tragedy. But I don't think that she deserved involuntary manslaughter. I really just don't think that fits the crime. But I think it speaks to the larger issue that there isn't a lot of room for legislation to prosecute things like this. There's not a federal law against cyberbullying. So, we need progress.
I mean...
Yeah, I think that maybe not jail time. Maybe she needs help. Like, go send her away somewhere. Obviously, she's not doing well on her own, and then she didn't help this other guy. Like,
I think
we need to help with the mental illness, that aspect first. Get her straight.
I could see jail time and also mental health, but I feel like the family was looking for closure, and I feel like they felt like they got justice and closure from that decision, but I just felt like it was a bit extreme.
Yeah, because you're not helping her.
Yeah.
You're not helping her become a better citizen.
And she's being tried so she can get probation or up to 20 years in prison, which is crazy to me.
I don't know. There is some history in the United States of people, spending years or their life in prison for convincing other people to do things, which is weird when you think about it, because we're convinced to do things all the time, but as soon as someone convinces us to do something bad, they can be sent to prison. I mean, I know I brought this up a while back, and it does remind me of it, but, Charles Manson is serving a life sentence for convincing several women to kill Sharon Tate and other victims. So being very convincing is a crime in some circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, man. Like,
very weird.
It's weird. And it also falls into the, how do you legalize and legislate morality? Because suicide is it's a moral issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the right to buy your own car, you have the right to feed yourself, but you don't have the right to end your life based on morals. But how do you legislate morals?
You can't.
You can't do it.
What I think is interesting about this case too is it speaks to the greater, stigmatization of talking about mental health and how, we're just gonna keep it in a text message between two people, and it should be something that you're encouraged to seek help for. That there is help there for people. That you're not just put on drugs and okay, move on next. So. I think that's a big issue that needs to be talked about.
And like Crystal said, the lack of, talk of mental health of Michelle Carter.
Yeah.
I would go on a limb and say sane people don't encourage other people to, take their lives.
No.
So,
just a side note, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in America. And every 11.9 minutes someone dies. Because of that.
Isn't it on the rise as well?
I mean, I definitely, when I was researching for this article, had no idea it was that much of a prevalent problem.
It's a pretty big issue.
From what I understand, with gun deaths, that's one of the leading causes of gun deaths is suicide.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I've personally been affected by suicide in multiple forms. It's crazy.
I mean, I knew it was an issue in America, but I just didn't realize that it was literally the 10th cause of death. That is a very significant.
That says a lot.
It says a lot about society that people are so hopeless that's the only thing they can turn to. That if it is on the rise, then maybe there is something that.
And if you know anyone that and you think they might have been joking, but maybe not, encourage them to seek help, because that's one thing that weighs on my mind sometimes.
God, talk it out.
Yeah.
Answer those phone calls. Respond to those text messages. Keep in touch with each other. So
and that's kind of upsetting too, in a way, that there are people who don't know how to respond to that kind of stuff. That you would hope there would be more awareness.
I mean, you would hope, but so when you get your first job, and it's a pretty basic job for the most part. You do your basic duties, and then the assistant manager has more duties, and the manager has more duties. And if one day, for whatever reason, the district manager walks in and is like, hey, I want you to do the thing your manager has been doing, and I'm just not going to explain anything to And you're like, that's above my pay grade. If someone comes to you and says they want to kill themselves, like, talk to them, but also understand that for the most part, unless you're a psychiatrist or professionally trained in this, it's above your pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
Seek outside help, because it's like drowning, man. You can't dive in alone with no assistance to save someone drowning, because it's
And this would be a good time to say that you can text 741741, text them connect, and that will get you hooked up with a crisis counselor immediately with the National Suicide Hotline.
Connect.
Yeah.
CONNECT to 741741.
I mean, I hope that one thing that is, if there's anything bright out of this, is that it does shine a light on suicide, and that people know that there are resources and there is a lot of help for people that struggle with that. And it's okay if you struggle with that, because it's a big problem in our country.
And also, it might be important to remember, I mean, when did he die? 2014? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if the suicide hotline had texting capabilities in 2014. I don't know if they had the amount of staff that they do now.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that when I was in high school, suicide was an issue and depression was an issue, but it wasn't nearly as understood, especially with online access and like cyberbullying. Like, that word did not exist when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So when people were spreading rumors on Zanga, of all places, about students, and kids were cutting themselves for it and trying to kill themselves, no one had any idea what was going on. So hopefully this sort of thing, because it comes from 2 years ago, which as far as technology is concerned is, a century and a half, like especially when it comes to technology and social services, hopefully these things happen less.
Yeah.
And this does give some exposure. I don't think she should be charged with murder, but I do think if these resources had been available to them at that time, hopefully one or the other would have, found that and recognized that. But I can only hope. So, yeah.
And I think, too, what's important to remember is that if someone is talking about suicide, if they're not necessarily saying they have a means and a motive and that they have like a timeline for how they're going to do it, if they're just talking about wanting to kill themselves, 9 times out of 10, that's a plea for help. And so they're trying to reach out for your help. And so you have to...
And you don't respond negatively to, that call for attention, that plea for help, because it's someone screaming, help me. It's not someone screaming, pay attention to me, I want to be popular. It's entirely, help me understand what is happening inside my own head, because I literally cannot translate these thoughts and feelings that I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently came across a cool technique a friend of mine taught me, which is you can say to the person, what are 3 things, or like, what's a number of things that I can do right now to help you, And that makes them stop and think about everything that's going on and maybe like, okay, these are some constructive things I can do to get out of this.
That's a good way to plant your feet. That's smart.
That's smart.
And this is like the official one. I think what I gave before maybe not have been official. So
Okay,
you can
yeah.
splice this in or out, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. And that's the national hotline, and it's free and confidential.
We'll make sure to include all these as links in the
Yes.
description and hashtag. There's probably some hashtag out there for suicide prevention.
If you happen to read the commentary, it's also linked in there as well. Or that phone number is also available to you.
Sweet. And we'll link to that commentary.
Yes, we will. All those links will be provided in the post for this Soundbytes. But moving on from something heavy to something a little lighter, significantly lighter, the entire UH system just recently terminated its contract with Aramark and has chosen Chartwells to be the new food service provider. That's throughout the entire UH system, and they just started getting it back up and running this week. And Crystal, you actually wrote the article on this. So, what kind of information you got for us?
Nothing.
We're gonna cut that out.
Wow.
So I'll ask again. So, Crystal, what information you got for us?
Absolutely nothing. No.
Come on.
Is there really nothing on this? Like, it's just a transition and that's it? Like,
They've
swapped
transitioned.
signs, or like,
What is
Yeah.
Chartwells? Should I be excited?
what are these companies? Why do we need companies to run our food and snacks?
She doesn't.
I think ultimately it was the decision was made because it'll offer cheaper meal plans for the students that live on campus.
So does that mean lower quality food, or does that mean?
Well, according to this. Go ahead.
No, you should be the expert on this.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it all started because of this guy in SGA at U of H Maine. He found out that the students were paying way more than they should have for their meal plans, and they weren't getting the good quality foods, and the hours also weren't good for their schedules. So he fought for 4 years to get this attention, and finally they decided to end their contract with Aramark. They decided Aramark. Okay.
Just pick one.
Before their contract was supposed to end. So I'm not really sure if that was really on good terms or not. But basically, now this new change is supposed to bring better choices, healthier options, and better hours for the entire U of H system.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure. I haven't looked at our cafe yet, but I'm hoping that they have better options now.
So,
and I don't know about the hours. I don't know if we've received anything about that. If that's going to change.
yeah. So this is a student-led effort, though.
Yes.
That's interesting. I thought this was just two companies exchanging property, like they usually do.
No, it started with the guy in SGA.
Wow, that's
his name
impressive.
was Shane Smith, and he was the former University of Houston SGA president.
Okay.
And in a quote he actually gave to you, Crystal, he said, the financial return for students in the new contract will be in the value created by increased quality. For example, while the last contract with Aramark didn't include many specific quality requirements, the new contract includes detailed requirements for meal variety, funding for secret shopper programs, etc.
So does this mean our sushi will actually be like good?
We had sushi.
Well, when we did, it was probably on its way out.
That's probably, I think I remember.
From being sushi and closer to, just next week's fish bait. But I hope it gets better.
Well, I've checked out the Patio Café since it's reopened. For the most part, it seems like the same stuff right now. I think as time goes on, it's the summer, so I think as time goes on, we'll start to see the changes.
Oh my god, what if we get ice cream? Like an ice cream dispenser for like soft serve?
Oh, that would be...
My last
Your ice cream
university had an
cones
ice cream area, and it was the bomb.
Bruh.
There has to be sprinkles.
Crystal, you got the connect. Hook us up with ice cream. You sound so powerless as a journalist.
I looked at some of Chartwell's Instagrams through different universities because I know that Aramark had an Instagram for our dining.
Yeah.
So I kind of compared some pictures, and it does look like a lot fresher stuff, like more vegetables, healthier stuff. So
That'd be nice.
obviously, I know it's not going to be the exact.
A&M has Chartwell, and I know their summer hours were so much better than what we used to have, and they're open like early morning to later at night, and
They're actually
Starbucks
open.
was open all day basically, which was amazing. So yeah, it should be better.
I mean, I find it encouraging that the university actually listened to the students and they changed it system-wide. I can really appreciate that they cared enough to listen.
That's shocking and impressive, and I don't know if there's a precedent for that, but hey, cool.
Go Shane.
I wish other things moved with that much. Well, it took 4 years. I wish other things happened.
Like what, Trey?
Honestly, anything at this point.
Don't we all wish that? I mean,
I wish it wasn't such an uphill battle to have basic, good quality services.
with hours that we can go to.
Yeah.
I just Google searched Chartwell food. That was my search.
A lot
And I
of
came
sad
across
faces.
an article, and the picture is called sadlunch.jpg.
It's pretty sad.
There's an article about high school students, so we're, I guess, in a different category, but they have Chartwells, and it shows, it looks like a pile of mashed potatoes with gravy and then a sad biscuit.
Is that a biscuit? Is that even mashed potatoes and gravy?
That's right.
students-
Sad.
The students at this high school organized a boycott of Chartwell's. So
Oh wow.
I
it'd be
wonder-
interesting to see where this goes.
Since 2014.
I wonder who
Maybe
did,
it's
Yeah, 2 years ago.
approved.
I wonder who did the food for Clear Lake, because man, the number of times that I never ate the lunch that was at the cafeteria at Clear Lake High School, but I saw it and I'm glad I didn't eat it because
Because you're alive still.
holy crap.
My lunch in high school usually consisted of about 8 Swiss rolls because they were like 25 cents a package, and so $1 would buy you 4 packages.
There you go.
There's 2 in each package. You
Yeah.
do the math. It was great.
So, the food quality wise, like, what do you guys think is the best food quality? Because that's been kind of the complaint about these food services in universities and schools all over, is that they're not serving what I guess the students want. So, what is it that the students want?
Food trucks.
To me, good quality means like fresh, like not processed. I don't want mashed potatoes that are from a powdered form, because that's not really mashed potatoes. It's
I don't know what that is.
powdered potatoes. I know you can buy that at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, I mean, like, I don't want something that's already made, that's frozen, that they just reheat or throw in the fryer.
Like that's why I like the grill area really nice, because like they actually do take time to cook, and there's food prep there, and there's time taken out. A pre-packaged ham and cheese sandwich kind of scares me, because I know that it's been on a refrigeration truck for at least a minute, and then it just goes and then it just goes from lamps to refrigeration to lamps to refrigeration, lamps to refrigeration.
Well, that and like prepacked salads to me. 'Cause I'm like, it's just the vegetables are pumped full of chemical preservatives to keep them looking like that for up to like weeks after they were.
And it's not
cut.
a salad you'd want to eat. It's just literally lettuce.
Also, that's
From a
all
bag,
cold
right.
things too. Let's talk about heat lamps for a second. Heat lamps are for lizards, not for food. That's all I have to say about it.
That's all I have to say about that.
I feel like I can't speak that much to the patio food because I've only had their fries, which have been pretty good.
I've only been to the grill, yeah.
Yeah, they
Like where the
definitely-
food, where I can see the food being prepared, and I'm like, that looks yummy. It's not the most healthy food, but hey.
I just feel like
I didn't buy
anything
those.
I saw at the patio was fried. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was like
Their burgers
all
are actually pretty
fried food, burgers, nothing like.
They have the
of health.
sandwich area, the kind of like Subway style.
See, that's what
Deli.
appeals to me is if,
Yeah.
if you had like good meat, if I knew it wasn't Subway quality,
Right, I
but
mean,
maybe quick
honestly,
steaks.
How much?
That's what I'm looking for.
How much
Yeah.
chicken is in your Subway sandwich? Turns out, just enough legally. Oh god.
Do you guys think that food in a cafeteria form will ever be good?
No.
Because I mean, I just think that
Sorry, that was really quick out of the
No,
gate.
but I kind of agree. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know if. I mean, maybe we're getting a change and maybe that'll be
I mean,
awesome, but I think it's still going to be
I haven't
cafeteria
eaten
food.
cafeteria food since like 5th grade. So,
But
I
yeah,
think
you're-
cafeteria
it's kind
food
of
is
polishing
great.
a turd.
I think cafeteria food is great when you go to school at a culinary school.
Okay,
Because you
Right.
have people who are cooking and they want to cook, and that's like what they're enjoying doing.
so we
Just
need to
like
get a little side.
you wouldn't get your portrait done by someone who hates painting. I wouldn't get food made by someone who hates food.
Exactly, or preparing food. Yeah.
And robots generally don't care about anything, so processed food is right out the window.
I think you just described every fast food. I don't think anybody in the fast food industry is like, yes, this is my dream, and I'm making good food.
Nah, man. Like I know a couple of people
Be
who
surprised.
like work at like Steak and Shake or Whataburger or Wendy's who legitimately like making
I guess that is
burgers.
true.
Yeah, and like sometimes they'll open their own restaurants. Sometimes they just stay there. But there are people who like to make food, and I'll eat their food.
Everybody at Chick-fil-A is really happy when I'm there.
I was
Ridiculous.
gonna say.
Please don't talk to me when I'm getting my chicken. I don't want to have a conversation with you
I
about
know.
my
I
life.
don't like.
Have a fantastic
Go
day.
do some other stuff.
Yeah.
We're closed on Sundays. Have you seen the cruise?
Their grilled sandwich, or their, oh gosh, what's that called? The chicken salad sandwich? They gave us the recipe because they're not going to have it anymore.
Oh, wow.
But they gave you the recipe.
Yeah, because they're not going to make it anymore.
That's what's up.
So
That's
Yeah, they
respectable,
didn't
actually.
find their chicken to make it. So
I also saw that Chick-fil-A is going to have family-style meals that they've pilot tested in a few areas. It's like $30 for a meal that'll feed about 4 people.
So KFC style. Wait, $30 for 4 people.
Basically, they're kind of going towards that whole like barbecue thing. They're gonna have mac and cheese and beef, like
They're
not
going to...
Chick-fil-A.
I don't trust no mac and cheese that ain't my grandma's
Whoa.
mac and cheese.
I might be down for some, mashed potatoes from Chick-fil-A.
It's like
Chicken soup's
family-style
pretty awesome.
meals to make it easier for families to have quality time.
Yeah.
Something
See,
like
I don't
that.
like Chick-fil-A.
Okay, well, we
But
don't need to talk to you
I think
more.
what Chick-fil-A is doing is maybe kind of what we should see within like the cafeteria industry. You have this movement where people want to have, more wholesome food, more complete meals, and then you have places in like France where it's probably not the case all over France, but I know I've seen reports and stuff of cafeterias in France where they're getting like really good meals. It's like maybe we should just invest in a decent chef that can set all this stuff up instead
Even
of
if it's
a
only like
Oh,
like
I
shadow
like that.
corporation
like
that
twice
is,
a
like,
week or like like every like Friday the chef comes in and like cooks dank food
or at
for
least
students.
lines up a meal and says, this is how you're going to make this stuff. It's not that hard. Because, I mean,
Yeah, I watched a Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain on CNN.
that's probably where I'm getting it from.
And they were, he was comparing school lunches, and granted, this is for like grade school children around the world. And most of the places that used fresh, like vegetables and like the least amount of processed foods actually, like, it was cheaper for them to do it that way.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Because you're not paying for excessive transportation, you're not paying for all the processing that
Ooh.
goes through, you're not paying for all the packaging.
Here's an idea. So Houston is considered top tier like for restaurants. We are comparable to New York City when it comes to restaurants.
Not surprising.
We are the most diverse city in the United States.
We
We got a lot of good food here. That's what I'm saying. Now,
Yes, we do.
with that in mind, there are plenty of local restaurants, and I think it would be really neat to like invite those guys in to like take over the menu for a month. It might,
Invite the food truck people to have a kitchen.
dude, that would be cool too.
Yeah.
Like open source cafeteria. An idea so good it'll never
This is
happen.
revolutionary.
Yeah, no, that's
Just work on it for 4 years and maybe we'll change
it's way too socialist for this age.
Crystal,
They're never gonna go for it.
Crystal, do you know if Chartwell's has like a partnership with any like fast food places like Chick-fil-A or anything?
I know a couple of the colleges, they have Chick-fil-A, they have Subway.
Main campus.
Oh, I forgot what
So
else.
maybe
I
But yeah,
guess
they-
that's
in
maybe
other
a
colleges,
deal
they
outside
have
of Chartwell's and the Airmark then.
I would so vote for that. Instead of having an open cafeteria, just having paid people that, like Chick-fil-A and Panda Express, all the people that are normally on campuses, and just have fast
Well, I mean,
food on campus. I
At
think that.
Sandjack Central, the way that they got Chick-fil-A
They
on
can have a
campus
pizza up
was
there.
they did. What they did was they shipped Chick-fil-A sandwiches to the Starbucks,
No.
and then those were available to purchase
No.
at the Starbucks.
No.
And you
Well, I
see,
know I saw like on Indeed and like whatever, they had over 100 positions open to work for Chartwell's at all of U of H's. So I know that they were wanting to hire, I don't know if they did, wanting to hire a lot of people to come in and work with our cafeteria at all the U of H's. So maybe they are thinking about adding more options because they are going to have more people working there.
Did you apply?
Yes.
Is that why you're
I'm
lucky?
leaving this journalist job.
It's back page reporter.
back page reporter, front page chef.
You can start again.
So, do you think the Patio Café is big enough to handle the amount of students that will be living on campus?
I can already answer that. No.
Because how many students
Okay.
is that?
Have you seen the food court at U of H Main or U of H Down? Literally any other campus?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
yeah.
the size of our campus. No, we can't even fit the student. Where are we putting the dorms?
Is there any plan to put it in the dorm?
I
Well,
think
maybe
at
it's a new
Texas
building.
Tech,
Okay.
at Texas Tech, on their first
Right?
floor, they normally have like a foodery or eatery.
I think
If there
that's how it
was
is at UT too.
something like that.
Yeah, but above the patio cafe is a library.
No, the first floor of the
Of
dorm.
the dorms will be. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Because that would be the place to put it if
Yeah.
you're expanding and you're doing this new building. You know.
Also,
just add a second floor.
At what
Yeah.
point do
Or
we
another
run out
floor.
of like nature reserve surrounding the school because we've just filled it all up with school?
I feel like that's another topic.
But let's jump into
Is that
Anna,
next?
you brought
Did
it.
I-
We're gonna probably see it
Sorry.
because we're
Okay.
going over.
We're just go ahead.
This is long, so we're gonna jump straight to Anna. You're getting a new dog, or you got a new dog.
Yeah. Well, so I have a dog she's a border collie named Daenerys. We call her Danny. And we are getting another dog, yet to be named. And I kind of like the idea of having a Game of Thrones name, kind of similar to our previous dog. But my husband's kind of wanting to just do something totally different. So I'm open to names. But it's a blue Merle border collie, and he's a little boy. And hopefully, whenever he matures, he can have puppies with my other dog, and then we can sell border collie puppies.
So
what
would the puppies be the stallion that mounts the world? You can name him Call Doggo. That's my idea.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah,
Call Doggo.
Drogo.
Doggo.
Doggo. Call Doggo. No, that's not.
Call him Call for sure.
I would
Yeah.
imagine that's just like, hey, yo, call Doggo. And I'm like, who is Doggo and what's his number?
Also, something to note is he was the biggest of the pack. He was the puppy pack. It was only 3 dogs because they were all huge. So this dog is going to be bigger than the average border collie. So
What if you called him Hound?
ooh, that's a good one.
I mean,
yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can go with that. If Game of Thrones tanks for whatever reason, you can say it's a reference to Fox and the Hound. If you don't want to go with that, you can say, well, I thought it was a hound, like a bloodhound, but I just don't know dogs. And then if Game of Thrones continues to be the masterpiece that it is, you can be like, it's the Hound.
I kind of liked the name Westeros and then call it West.
Oh.
Because then it's like, it's Game of Thrones, but it's low-key Game of Thrones.
Targaryen, nicknamed Gary.
Ooh, Gary. I like Gary.
Gary the dog.
Gary.
Gary the Targaryen.
Gary, get in here. You peed on everything again, didn't you, Gary? Oh, Gary, you drunk. I assume Gary's a
Oh,
drunk.
Gary.
But yeah, Targaryen,
Wow.
Daenerys Targaryen. And then when you meet them both, you just scream her name.
My non-Game of Thrones names are like Bear or Blue.
Bear.
Because he's got
Gary.
blue eyes.
Or Gary.
My dad wanted to name our dog Bear or Wolf, and he always gets mad about that.
Yeah.
What about you, Crystal? What are your ideas?
I don't know Game of Thrones.
It doesn't have to be Game of
it doesn't.
Thrones.
Non-Game of Thrones dog names.
Have you ever had a dog? What would you name it?
Yes, I have one dog. He's on Instagram. Everyone should follow.
Wait.
Her dog
Is it-
is actually a famous Instagram personality.
Wait, your dog has an Instagram that's more popular than yours, is what you're saying?
She's a back page reporter.
Oh, way more popular.
Back
I've
page
seen it.
reporter, back page Instagrammer.
Wait, I need to follow your dog. Why
Yeah,
am I
no, what's
following
your
you?
Hey, y'all.
What's your dog's Instagram?
Yeah, what's the
You gotta
Instagram?
plug it.
It's Rocky with 3 Y's, 18.
Rocky 18 with 3 Ys.
You're
That's
really wanting that name, didn't you?
unique.
Okay.
So Rocky
He's
with
legal.
3 Ys.
Legal. That's
Alright.
that's for sure. Oh god.
Do
So-
you have a favorite movie?
Huh?
No. Because that's what
We're
my
talking-
dog
we're
is
talking
named
Anna.
after.
But-
Name him Neo.
I don't know. Let me ask, I
Neo.
guess.
God.
Favorite movies?
Whoa, Rocky the dog
Maybe.
has 2,696 followers.
Oh my
Dang.
god.
That is a star.
Rocky.
One
That's-
of those followers.
Literally, the only person I know personally with more followers is an actual model in LA.
Wow.
But that dog is like.
So this is like, so is he like an influencer?
It's so cute.
Instagram
Do you get
influencer?
sponsorship opportunities? Do you make money off of him? Has he ever been a part of an ad campaign and had to admit
Clothes
it?
sometimes from different, like the costuming thing.
Wait, really?
Wow.
That's so
Oh my god, you
cool.
actually have to hashtag ad. Wow. So like when Fire Festival came around, were they like, we love your dog, we'd love it if he promoted our festival?
No.
Jeremy, you're clever. What kind of ideas do you have?
Jeremy!
Yeah.
What's a dog?
Yeah, Jeremy's here. You didn't know.
No! Not another fight.
Jeremy's ready to talk about sports.
Yeah, he's anti-Boston. Well, think about a
Right?
sports name.
Yeah, what's a sports name?
Oh yeah.
Do you,
James Harden.
are your pets named after sports? Do you have pets?
Yeah, I have 2 dogs, but I didn't name them. They're named Rexy and Haley.
I feel like you did.
Name it Magic. Wait,
Magic.
Magic Johnson.
No. Don't name it after Magic.
Magic.
Maybe.
Could name it Rocket.
No, he's still.
That's a
he's
good
still
name.
Magic's still.
Or
the same.
JJ.
Yeah.
He's
JJ's a good
Lakers.
name.
Oh,
J-
crap.
oh,
Yeah.
right.
Name it after Magic. Surprisingly long-lived.
Magic Johnson kind of sounds like a porn name, though.
Wow.
I mean,
That's fair.
Rocky 18
It most likely
isn't exactly. I mean, it's legal, as we said.
It's over 18.
And it's on Instagram. It's got 2,000 followers. Like, I'm not going to think it's a dog. Just saying.
all right. So I guess we're good with Hound, Westeros, West,
Gary.
I like
Gary and
Westeros
Gary.
because you can go west
Bear, Blue.
and then Adam West. You call him Adam, like after the late Adam West. So it's like you got a few choices there with that.
You got a good group of five names.
How about we make an Instagram for your new dog and see if
Yeah, see if
they
it
can
trumps
We can beat
Crystal's dog.
Rocky.
We can be right.
Oh, we can beat Rocky.
If you can somehow like find like either a hashtag that's trending in like Russia or Asia, they will blow up your dog. Like they will fall in love.
Don't tell Crystal that.
No, not like popularity wise. Your dog will explode in popularity. Like you'll get 10,000 followers
Not
instantly.
really.
They love it. It's-
Sports talk. Jeremy, hit us with some stats.
Alright, so the Rockets' best player, James Harden, he recently signed a new contract. It's the biggest contract in NBA history. It's going to pay him $228 million through 2023. So what do you guys think about professional athletes making more money than some third world countries? Kind of crazy.
yeah.
What happens if he gets injured and he can't play all the way to
It's
23?
completely guaranteed money.
And
So
they have insurance too.
even if he's
on a
injured,
lot
he
of
still
their-
makes that money.
That's absurd. How much did you say again?
$228 million.
Question.
2023.
What was the name of that basketball player that's like best friends with Kim Jong Un?
Oh, Dennis
Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
At peak salary, how much was Dennis Rodman making? Do you think?
Probably not more than $7 million. Back when he played in the 90s,
Yeah.
they made a lot less than that.
I think it just says a lot about Americans. I get upset about it, but then again, it's not like this money's coming from nowhere. It's coming from the people that support it. So.
Yeah,
I mean, we do have our priorities. We'll say that.
I think there is like some of the money does come from people who don't support it, in that a lot of our tax dollars go to like build these stadiums
yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
true.
That's true. And we don't see a lot of that money coming.
No.
Okay, so in that instance, I don't really pay taxes, so I don't care. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
That's obscene. Like that, I can't even imagine having
like-
that sort of money.
But,
So-
but how many games do they play? Like, what are the risk of injuries and they're getting paid that much money?
What do you even do
as
with that much
opposed
money?
to
Yeah.
Like, do you,
You know,
just
like-
buy the
Yeah.
NBA?
Do you
that's like-
buy a third world
yeah.
country?
But the thing is too is that that's
Rodman.
one player, and he's like a outlier. That a lot of the like lower down players who aren't
Yeah.
big name players, they're making like
The NBA
$100 grand a
salary
year.
cap is just rising and rising, so even the bad players are making like a lot of money.
So
And
it is
there
going up
are-
for the okay.
There are athletes who like put a lot of that money into like public works programs and
Yeah,
and
that's
city
true.
charities. I can't remember his name, but he
was doing
guy who took a knee and everyone was like, "Oh, how dare he!" And then it turns out like he's a really great guy who just happened to take a knee for the pledge that one time.
Yeah,
what was the number again?
We're just
$228 million.
Is he anywhere near close to actually buying the Rockets himself?
Is he close to what?
Like buying the Rockets himself?
that. Google.
I mean, the Rockets went up for sale, and it's like $2.2 billion, I think, to buy them.
I mean,
So he needs
he
a couple
can
more
get a
seasons.
couple players
He made a lot
together.
over his career, and he also has like a $200 million contract with Adidas too.
Well, now that would be interesting if some players got together and pulled their salaries and purchased a team, and it was
Yeah.
like,
It's like, we're gonna purchase, we're gonna do what we
Some
want to
former
do.
Rockets players are trying to get together to buy the team.
yeah. It was bought in 1993 for $85 million by Leslie Alexander.
so he could
Now
do it
it's
in
selling for
1993.
$2.2 billion. So he's making a lot of money.
993.
Dang. The job of a team owner. So you buy it, you have all this money, but then
You have to hire like a team president, general manager, coaching staff, and all that, and then they basically run the team for you.
Like,
And you
if there's a change to the design of their uniform, you're basically the CEO of a company. You manage a lot of managers.
Yeah,
Okay.
manager of the brand, I guess.
Yeah. Most of the time when you get up to those higher level jobs, you're just managing managers.
Kicking your feet up on your desk. And
Right.
barking
Each team
orders.
even
Saying
has
yes
its
and
own
no.
CEO also.
I mean, you can.
Oh, wow, that's
but,
cool.
you know,
Did y'all
usually
hear
don't make a
that?
lot of money
Yeah.
if you just-
What'd you say,
Each
Jimmy?
team also has its own CEO, so the owner's above the CEO.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there you
It
go.
doesn't even have to do the CEO work.
Yeah, and you're managing managers. You're managing the manager who manages managers. Or maybe you're managing the managers who manage the manager who manages the managers.
Okay.
How do they
All right,
manage
that's a
that?
tangent.
Probably still have a BlackBerry, I imagine.
Jeremy, who do you hope wins or buys the Rockets?
Back to the Rockets.
I
Elon Musk.
hope the former players buy it, because I think
That
if
would be
players
cool.
own the team, I think they care more about it than some billionaire that's not really attached to the situation.
I like the idea of Houstonians owning a Houston team.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Was the previous owner not Houstonian?
Well, I'm saying, like,
I think he's from New York.
Houstonians. Like, well,
Why do you care about a team if
Money.
you're not even...
money.
So
I don't even know if it's money. It's
Some
more.
people have so much money, they need something to do, and they
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like
next
a...
thing to buy.
It's
you
like
know,
a
I have,
legal way
I
of
have
laundering
the-
your money.
Yeah.
Because if you have a ton of money and you have nothing to do with it, they're just going to tax it if you're holding on to it. So you buy a business, and then you make money off that business. You use that money to buy another... Like,
Does your money get taxed if you hold on to it? I don't know if that's a true statement. Just like to point that.
I know that
out
it
there.
affects. I know that it affects like liquidatable assets and like assets when you're filing for things.
Okay.
But if you operate a business, it's usually most businesses aren't run at a perfect profit. They usually get run at a loss of some sort because money just moves around. So it's generally just wiser to keep investing your money in different things constantly. And the more you move that money around, the harder it is to track, and that's how you keep your taxes down. Fun fact for all you 6, 7-digit earners who listen.
There's a lot of them.
Well, whoever buys it, let's hope that they do an awesome job.
Yeah, I'd like to see the team do it.
Whoever bought the Astros, I think they really
Apparently they
really
do.
did a
Jeremy,
great
if
job.
you were to buy the Rockets, what would be your first action?
First action. Probably lowering ticket prices. I think if you
That's
lower
good.
ticket prices, you'll sell out more.
nice.
Yeah.
More people will come.
What's the average ticket price right now?
I don't know. It all depends on where you sit. Like,
Yeah.
if you sit down low,
What's
thousands of dollars.
What's the cheapest ticket I could get?
Cheapest ticket, probably like 30.
Yeah, $30 for like
But
nosebleeds.
that's like
but-
really, really high up. And
Like
yeah,
I was
really
courtside 2000 might have been like 2005 2006 and it was $275. But that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, they've gone way up since then.
Nowadays you could be looking at like
Probably,
1200.
I'd rather go to Burning Man.
yeah.
I hate sand though. I hate sand and I don't know why, but concessions at basketball games is always so much better than concessions at like
Rock Desert.
well, yeah, in the
Fun fact
desert.
about Burning Man, the only thing that's sold there is ice and coffee. Everything else is on a trade and barter basis.
But I hate sand. Why do you know that? I hate
I
sand.
have a lot of friends who've gone to Burning Man.
I hate sand. I keep
So-
getting
I don't know what
invited.
you're
So,
talking
Crystal, I want to ask you the same
Shoot
question. If you bought the Rockets, what would be your first action?
Dunk.
Dunk on them.
You gonna dunk on him?
I would have more appearances by Hakeem Olajuwon.
All right. All right.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
I'd buy
Still
sand.
on the team?
No, he goes to the games and says,
I don't know either.
Well, this has become awkward. So speaking of awkward, Crystal, give us your awkward moment of the week.
Yay!
Crystal.
Is it my turn?
Yeah. You're good. You're good to go.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, this one happened to me a couple months ago. My coworker and I decided to go out after work one night, and we went to this bar called Okra. It's like a charity bar. So we went there, and it was our first time hanging out, so it was kind of like a little awkward-ish between us, like, oh, I don't know how you get when you drink. I don't know if you like to dance. I don't know if you occasionally rap. That kind of thing. So we're drinking. I got rosé, so it had a wine glass. And then we meet two guys. One of the guys I kind of start flirting with because he's kind of cute and we have a lot in common. So we sit down at the table. We're all talking to each other. And I decide I want to be funny. And That's when the whole night goes out.
Good choice.
So we're talking about wine snobs or something like that. And I decide I just finished my glass of rosé. So I grab it and I start like mocking people. I'm like, and I'm like waving the glass around kind of. So I put the glass down, and when I put it down, I put it like a normal person would. I didn't slam it. It was a glass.
That's good.
I put it down, but I was holding onto the stem of the glass. So whenever I take my hand away from it, for some reason I held on to the stem. So I yanked the stem out, and the top part that holds the wine and the little bottom circular part, those two stayed exactly where they were placed. But I grabbed the stem in my hand, and I was a little weirded out by that. So I look at my hand, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this glass. So I, for some reason, decided to squeeze it pretty hard, and I broke it into little pieces. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of just let the pieces fall from my hand. And the guy, he was so sweet. He starts freaking out. He's like, oh my gosh. And he grabs my hand. He's like, are you okay? Are you bleeding? What's wrong? And I was like, no, I'm fine. I didn't have any cuts. Like,
So you did a
I have
drunk
both
magic
hands.
trick.
huh?
You did a drunk magic trick?
Basically. I'm like, ta-da! But I didn't mean to, and I felt so embarrassed. Like, oh, I did not want to show my unbelievable hand strength at that moment, or show that glass can't cut me, because that happened.
Great, now they know
Like,
you're a
no,
superhero.
Like, glass can't pierce through my skin. What you talking about? That kind of thing.
You sound like the girl from Heroes.
I know. Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
It was embarrassing, and then now every time my friend and I go out, she's like, can we get plastic or a sippy cup? Freaking whole hands over here.
She likes to
Freaking
push
glass.
glasses with her hands.
She pulled the stem out from the middle of a glass. How do you even...
I'm really
How do you
confused by
do that?
Yeah.
Did
We
it?
need a reenactment.
That's like pulling the tablecloth out from a table, except you're pulling the stem from a wine glass. How?
Yeah, and the top part just like fell right on the bottom, little circular part, so like even that was perfect. Like, what?
Wow.
So weird.
I wonder if this stem
Yeah,
is
it was
already
just like
cracked.
a little.
Was it plastic or was it actually glass?
She crushed it.
No, it was glass.
And then you just crush it.
Like the whole
Yeah.
So,
crystal smash.
we need somebody
Like a-
to draw this out. Kristen,
Yeah, we're gonna get a reenactment of this. So wait, what happened to your date though? Like, you never said what happened. Like, he sounded like a nice guy.
I think he was a little intimidated at that point.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Glass bringing too much
yeah.
for him?
Because, yeah, I think he wanted to like take care of me, and I was just like, no.
So I don't need
You
help.
don't need it. That's the thing.
You'd
Like,
be the one opening the jars in that relationship.
oh my god, yeah, that's terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, we had like a whole little like awkward silence moment. We're just staring at the glass on the floor, like,
You're both just
Have you talked to
analyzed.
him since?
Yeah, have you talked to him since?
kind of, not really.
Kind of.
No.
Are you putting on blast at the moment?
Does he listen to this? Should he?
Should he listen to this? Does he follow us on Instagram? Because this might be the teaser.
It's like
No.
you broke the ice, but you broke the glass. And it was
Oh.
awkward.
Even deeper
What?
than
Like
even
surgery
deeper
on
than
the
breaking
glass.
the ice, you broke the glass. Dang.
That's some David Blaine stuff right
Man.
there. Crystal Blaine.
Crystal
I
Blaine.
mean,
David-
that relationship's gonna stick if he calls you back.
Well, that's impressive.
Or if y'all talk again, I mean.
The more you know. So yeah, but this has been a great conversation, a long conversation, longer than usual. But Signal Soundbytes, go check us out on UHCLsignal.com. We have a bunch of stuff and things to click on, so go check out those stuff and things.
Click.
Yeah. And yeah, any final words, guys?
Final words.
Oh, that's what she should name her dog, Carl.
Carl.
Coral.
Oh, name him Carl. I'm putting that on
Carl
the list.
Parks.
Oh, dang. The only thing we have to lose is our chains. Rouse the proletariat. Drop them leashes. What?
That's actually
That's a really good
very
start.
awesome.
Man, now I'm undecided between Carl and Gary. I like
Hey,
them
man.
both.
Targaryen, Gary.
Well, we'll see what.
Oh, and Pokemon. That's also a reference for Gary.
No, we'll see.
Gary. Yeah.
All right, fine. We'll
That's
keep it again.
We've, we've had enough Pokemon. Pokemon needs to go.
Why don't we Pokemon go on our ways?
Thank you,
Let's
Christopher.
Pokemon get out of here.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're out of here. See ya in a couple weeks.
Long ending.